Hi everybody, today we have a blue and red Mindsplice Apparatus deck. This is a card that we can flash down on our opponent's turn, and then as it gets more counters on it, it decreases the cost of all of our instants and sorceries. So our plan is to survive the first few turns with the cards that you see down here, use Experimental Augury and other proliferate effects to put more counters onto the apparatus, and then finally in the late game with Chandra and Urabrasks, we can copy spells, take extra turns, and make extra mana thanks to these three cards you see right here, Alchemist's Gambit, Urabrask, who we can flip over and get some extra treasures and then recycle all of our spells out of the graveyard, and then Chandra, of course, who can help us to double up spells like Alchemist's Gambit, effectively giving us 2 turns in a row. Honestly, this was kind of an experimental try. We have Case of the Ransacked Lab in here as a one-of copy, still short on the wild cards, but this one is amazing, and I think in the final version, this should be some number of Case of the Ransacked Lab to go along with 4 Mindsplice Apparatus. The added ability to draw cards every time we cast a spell is just really helpful in this deck, and it's pretty easy for us to solve it when we're discounting all of our spells anyway, thanks to the apparatus and this card itself. Another change I would make is that we included one Outrageous Robbery in here because I figure we can decrease the cost of this a lot and get some win cons from our opponent, but more often than not we draw so many cards that we really don't need 2 win conditions. We've already got Light Up the Night, which fits and plays so well with all of our stuff anyway, and is itself a way to kill our opponent rather than trying to dig through the top of our opponent's deck and end up with like mostly lands. So yeah, I think you can expect to see more Case of the Ransacked Lab from me in the future. But right now, let's go see some games with this deck over on the ranked standard ladder. Alright, let's get it started here. I think we're going to keep this. We've got the Case, which I really want to try out. I think it was Uber, one of the commenters on my channel, Uberific, mentioned Case was really good. Case of the Ransacked Lab, so... Ooh, Experimental Augury, you are nice. So our plan, as our opponent lays down Spirited Companion, is to play Mindsplice Apparatus, get counters on it, and then just kind of go off from there. But let's get this Case going. Nice that it comes down on a turn where we don't normally have much going on in a deck like this. And automatically gives us 1 mana discount on all of our spells. Opponent continuing to draw with the Spirited Companions. Communes with the Spirit Realm. Pulls out a Reign of Truth. Hits us for 1. That could hit us a little hard, but it's not too much going on over there yet. We're at 4, so we're going to pass it back. So this is kind of the turn where we try to flash in the apparatus at the end of our opponent's turn. Ideally, they are tapped out, and then they never get to take another turn, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. All right, they lay the Reign of Truth, so this is going to be a nice buff for one of these dogs. Attacks in for 6, dropping us to 13. Let's flash out the apparatus. Okay, so we've got kind of double discount going on here. Could use a little more and a little more to do. Let's play Augury. Oh, big score. That might just be the one. Yes, so we put an additional counter on Mindsplice. So now big score is 1 mana. So we actually gain mana every time we cast that spell. Let's go Augury. Oh, another one. Perfect. Perfect. So let's play big score. Once you get the apparatus to 3, that's where you can really start doing some interesting things. We're going to discard... Yeah, Light Up the Night here. We can replay that with the Chandra in hand, thanks to that flashback ability. So we don't lose much by discarding that to the graveyard. Okay, we play big score. Let's discard Mountain. We draw land and Volt Charge. And then let's play Urabrask here. It leaves us with, what, 1 mana left? And let's go ahead and Volt Charge your face. Urabrask leaves us with 1 red mana after that. And then I think that is 4 spells. So we'll put 1 on the Mindsplice. We've got 1 mana left. We can flip Urabrask, because we did cast 4 spells that turn. Or 3 spells. The requisite number of spells. And so now it looks like the Case is also solved. So we've managed to wipe our opponent's board. We're set up to get treasures this turn. Opponent starts off with a Naturalist. Another naturalist. Yeah, this is where they can really kind of flood the board back up again. And that's it. Okay. 3 treasures from the great work. Let's play Chandra here. Because what we can do is big score. We can ditch this island. Chandra's going to copy that. And so we get tons of treasures, many spells. We could have flashed back Light Up the Night there. Actually, we probably could have added mana first and flashed back the night, Light Up the Night, but this is flashier. Also, I forgot about it. Don't tell anybody. Let's play Alchemist's Gambit. Ooh, case goes off, we draw a card, and we're set up to take a legal extra turn with no strings attached. Yeah, so I think we could have doubled up Light Up the Night there to finish this off. Great work flips over. We get access to every spell that we've been casting so far. Except Gambit, that exiles itself. So yeah, let's draw a little bit more. Copy with Chandra. Just so many cards you can draw. This case is working out rather well. Yeah, so just look at this. This is kind of the cycle we would be getting into. Absolutely, we will submit more. We even drew our Outrageous Robbery, but I'm not sure that's even necessary. Let's just burn our opponent out here for 7. Okay. Good game, opponent. Wow, this case is good. Alright, let's mulligan this. Ooh, no blue mana here. Well, we do have Into the Fire, though. I'm going to keep this. We're going to put back Robbery. And our deck normally doesn't do too much on turn 1 and 2. Been trying to mulligan a little bit harder for Mindsplice Apparatus, but Into the Fire is kind of like a free mulligan. Armored Scrap Gorger. And a case. Alright. Well, we don't have the mana for case. Let's go Into the Fire and draw some cards. We'll put back Urabrask and big score. Do we put the case back? Yeah, we really need Mindsplice. There it is. As nice as the case is, super important to find Mindsplice. Opponent goes Jewel Thief. Normally Scrap Gorger, kind of a pain in my side, but feast away, little guy. What we're really trying to dodge here is artifact removal, as the opponent gorges themselves on our Into the Fire. And the opponent's already played Boseiju. Doesn't mean they don't have another one, but... Ouch. Big Daddy Vorinclex comes in. Opponent's going to get themselves 2 lands. Oh, that's right. They had the treasure from the Jewel Thief and the Scrap Gorger, so they're able to boost it out early. Alright, let's flash in the apparatus. It gets a counter. So we've got a 1 mana discount on everything. Yeah, let's go Experimental Augury first. Ooh, just a land. Okay. Well, that's 1 more blue mana. We can try again. Doing the important work of getting counters on apparatus. And then let's go Urabrask here. So if we Augury and we don't get anything, we're kind of stuck anyway, whereas Urabrask can also help us by flipping over into its Saga form. Plus Urabrask is a nice blocker for some of these smaller creatures. I said smaller creatures, opponent. Gets in for 6 with Vorinclex, hits us down to 11. Alright, now we can do a 1 mana Thirst for Discovery. There's what we're looking for. There's a big score. Do we discard? Yeah, I think that's better. It's a better deal. Let's see. Big score is usually a good bet. Let's discard second apparatus. Urabrask happens again. There's another Augury. Let's see. Okay. Just double checking the text on Urabrask there. So we got 2 auguries in hand. Got some treasures going now. Let's play augury. Ooh, that is a choice. I think it's Chandra over the big score. That's kind of the 2 I was debating about. Next up, let's try another augury. This just gives us such good card selection. And getting Mindsplice above 3 is meaningful, as one of our win conditions is into the fire. Let's take Serum Snare here. So we can flip Urabrask, and that's going to wipe most of our opponent's board, but still leave Vorinclex, which is kind of why we wanted to grab Serum Snare right there. So the triplets all perish. Nice, says the opponent. And tell you what, let's just take an extra turn. All right, untap. Counter on the apparatus. 3 treasure tokens from the great work. Let's go Chandra.
This war ends today.
We will... Let's go get some spells. Because if we find a Gambit, we're in good shape. We do not. Kind of a mirror image of our hand there. Let's copy a Thirst for Discovery. We're going to draw 6. Got to discard 2 off the first one. Let's get rid of these 2. 3 more, an augury and an into the fire. Alright, let's just pass it on back there. So no extra turn shenanigans. But the great work is set to give us access to all of our spells again, so we'll certainly find something. And we do still have the Serum Snare, excuse me, for Vorinclex that tries to attack Chandra. And we double that up, get rid of both of these creatures. No proliferate, which is too bad, but I'll take what I can get. Apparatus grows ever larger, and all of our spells are now re-available. Available? Become available again. Let's cast Big Score. We'll toss into the fire. Double up Big Score with Chandra. Opponent says, good game. Good game. Well, hopefully I can find a way to finish you. That's always the embarrassing thing about a combo deck. You can't find the win condition. You're just kind of sitting there looking silly. Volt Charge. All right, well, I think combination of number of spells, Urabrask triggers, and Chandra's minus ability should be enough to close this one out. Let's do one more spell. Alright, never know when they've got a Tamiyo's Safekeeping. And that will allow us to play Chandra's Burn ability. And wraps it up. Good game. Okay. I'm gonna keep this. So we've got Experimental Augury, could find us Mindsplice Apparatus. Normally I try not to keep that, but we also have Into the Fire, which, as we just saw, lets us kind of redraw our entire hand if things aren't going so well. Opponent looks to be on the mono black train, playing Hidden Necropolis, one of the Cave Discover cards. We got a Thirst here, that's kind of nice. Phyrexian Fleshgorger. Alright, let's try a Thirst then instead. Discard a basic island. We get Robbery and an Augury. Well, having multiple Auguries is nice. Let's go Into the Fire and do some card draw. Let's put back Big Score, Robbery, Snare, and Island. Put those 4 back, draw 5. No apparatus, but we did get a case. The question is, are we going to be able to string together enough spells without the apparatus and just the case? Unless we draw into that. Opponent Fell Stingers. Sacrifices itself to draw a couple of cards. And looks like attacks in with 3, from the Flesh Gorger. We pick up Urabrask off the top. Well, let's get this case going. Anything else? We could kind of spin the wheel again with Into the Fire. Let's try that. Let's get rid of Brask, Light Up the Night, Impulse, and one of these auguries. We get a Gambit. There's an Apparatus. Okay. So the discount from the case is nice. Just kind of, we need a little bigger discount to play Alchemist's Gambit in a reasonable time frame. Opponent puts counters on Blast Zone, maybe trying to look toward the future and get rid of our case. Let's pass here. So this is where we're going to try to flash in Apparatus. Opponent likely going to attack us for 6. Goes Discovering. I wonder if they have a handful of removal over there. Oh, gets a 1-mana sleeper off the Discover. That's gotta hurt. Anyway, knocks us down to 8. We flash out the Apparatus. Nothing to do yet because there's no counters on it yet to proliferate. We'll just take our turn. Play out this Coast. Alright. We might be able to do this here. Let's play out Augury. Ooh. Gambit or Volt Charge. Let's take Volt Charge. We have one Gambit in hand. Alright. Serum Snare on Underdog. Okay. We're up to 3 counters on the Apparatus. What do we need here? We're going to get a proliferate off this Volt Charge, right? Let's proliferate the opponent. Or sorry, Volt Charge the opponent. Proliferate our stuff. And now we should be able to Gambit. If that costs 3. Great, and so that was our 4th spell for the case. We can pass to our next extra turn. We draw Apparatus, but now we're going to draw a card every time we cast something. So we might be able to string together a whole bunch of stuff now. So we're going to Thirst and draw. We get big score. Thirst happens, we'll discard Mountain. We can now big score, discard extra Apparatus. We pick up a Gambit, a couple of lands. Let's see here. So I think we can get down 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we can get down Chandra. Let's go plus on mana, adding red and blue. We will double up Alchemist's Gambit and draw a card from the case. So now we're set up to take 2 extra turns after this one. 1 mana left. Might as well Thirst for Discovery. No sense in waiting on that. Get a free card off of the case. Bunch of lands, though. Let's discard one of them. Second Chandra off the top. Alright, well, let's do Into the Fire. Chandra's going to double that up. That's going to give us a lot of redraws. Let's put back these 5. We draw 6. We get Brask and Augury. Okay, so we're going to put a number of things back into our library. Alright, we've got more lands. Big score. We'll discard Shivan Reef to that. Draw off the case. Draw 2 with the big score. Let's do it again. Now, hold on. Let's get Urabrask down here. We're going to be casting all these spells. Doesn't hurt to get some extra triggers out of it. More big score? Sure, why not? Yep, let's go with that. And Urabrask is helping to cast all of these future spells, of course. Let's Volt Charge our opponent's face. Get some more triggers, put some more Proliferate counters on things. Excellent, very good. Alright, we've got 14 cards left. We've drawn our Robbery. Let's do a small Robbery here. Yeah, let's do a 6 mana Robbery, sure. Gotta use some treasures to pay for it. And we draw. What do we get? Hero's Downfall, Shieldred. Alright, let's flip over Urabrask then. Do 3 damage to everybody on the other side of the table. Add a little bit of mana. And what can we do now? Let's see. Too many options. We've got an opponent's Shieldred. Sure. Let's do that. It's going to let us gain life from any future cards drawn. Going to have to discard a few things, which is fine. Because as we go into our next turn, we can untap with a full board of lands. Yep, and that pretty much ensures we've got more than enough to not just play, but also copy this Light Up the Night. And don't even have to worry about the math at this point. Alright, draw a little bit, gain some life. Good game. Alright, looking at another one. Seems okay. Hopefully our opponent's not too quick on the start here. A lot of 3 and 4 mana things from us. We'll just play our lands and pass it on back. Oh, we draw a Case. We'll immediately slam down Case of the Ransacked Lab. Yeah, I think if we can fit some more of these in a future version of this deck, it's going to be good for us. Because normally, if we're not doing a whole bunch of stuff on the early turns besides playing spells, then when our apparatus does come down, the opponent's probably saved their Boseiju or their removal for the apparatus. And this at least gives them some more targets and gives us some redundancy. You know, a little bit of backup plan. Okay, opponent plays Realm Breaker. We're gonna Mindsplice here. Put a counter on that. Second Augury off the top, which is nice. Let's see. Let's take the Reef. Proliferate a little bit more. Let's Augury again. Chandra's nice. I'm not sure. Are we ready for her yet? Let's go with this Impulse. Proliferate a bit more. Can play Shivan Reef. Alright, let's Impulse. Gambit, Light Up the Night, Charge, and Chandra. Nothing on board for our opponent. Alright, we'll take Chandra. Fine. Twist my arm. And then finally, let's Volt Charge our opponent. Do a little extra proliferation. And Case of the Ransacked Lab has been solved. So now, even though we are down to 1 spell, each one we play from here on out is going to draw us a card. Opponent with a Contagious Vorak. Look at the top 4. Reveal some lands. Speaking of lands, there's one off the top of our deck. Alright. What can we do here? Variety of discounts. Let's get Chandra down and let's make... Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's make some mana and... Oh. Nuts. Totally misremembered the... Yeah. For some reason I was thinking that would trigger with enough mana to give us 3 for Alchemist Gambit. That is a bad miscount on my part. Too excited about the possibility of Chandra giving us 2 turns in a row instead of just 1. But at least we have the Gambit in hand as Chandra goes down. Opponent mills us a bit with Realm Breaker. Passes it back. Alright, well, in memory of Chandra, let's cast this Gambit. We draw for free. Extra turn is in the queue for later. Go into the fire, draw one for free. There's another Gambit. Just put this island back. A couple of Serum Snares. Alright, not the best, but we can use them to draw cards, so let's go ahead and bounce a couple of Devils. Just proliferating this apparatus all the way up as high as we can get it. Ensuring that our opponent will probably not flip this invasion. And we'll go to our next turn here. Untap with a full boat of mana. I think we want to get Urabrask down here. Let's see. If we Gambit, that's all we're doing this turn. But then we get to untap again. Or we could try to chain some things together with Into the Fire. Yeah, I think Gambit is just better here. Let's try not to make any more misplays this game. What do you say? Alright, well we've got free mana from Urabrask. Let's discard a little bit. Get a few triggers here. Another big score. Well, let's use Urabrask mana to cast that big score, discarding Mountain. A little more chip damage getting in. Case of the Ransacked Lab giving us some extra cards. And now Urabrask has seen enough spells to flip over. So let's go ahead and do that. That's 3 damage to everybody over there. Opponent's going to get a few devil triggers going. Pointed at us. Let's play the Stormcarved Coast and go to our next turn. Alright, Island. Start off with Augury. We get a big score. We'll take another big score. Just pure profit at this point. We can proliferate into the Great Work. That's going to give us access to all of our old spells. And where did Burn Down the House come from? Let's go big score. Discard Impulse. Urabrask gives access to everybody's graveyard spells. Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember putting this card in here, but it's also something I would do, so let's just cast it, get some devils, draw some cards. Alright. Well, while we have enough spells to finish our opponent with pure Urabrask triggers, let's cast this Volt Charge. Keep on proliferating. Do a little big score. Why not? Get in with some devils. And we just need one more spell to finish this off. So we will Thirst, get some triggers, and put this one away. Good game. All right. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but we're going to keep this one. Would love to not have to cast this Experimental Augury for lands. But we do have an Into the Fire. So as long as we get... Ah, there it is. Shivan Reef. Land number 3. So now we can probably pretty safely Into the Fire next turn if we need to. Opponent with a Kumano, but I've seen a Plains over there. Could be the Boros Convoke deck, which I think has seen some success on the ladder. Let's Into the Fire, though. Do kind of a fake redraw. Free mulligan, if you will. We'll put 3 back, draw 4. We get a Gambit. Second Apparatus. Okay. Opponent with land and Risona Asari Commander. 4/4 hasty. Gonna get indestructibility here in a second. Alright. Well, we have the 4th mana. Plan is to flash in Mindsplice. If we're lucky, our opponent will tap out for something here. And then we won't have to worry about an errant get lost. Something that's going to remove our artifact. Ryu Storm's Edge. So we are going to take a little extra damage here. Risona's going to attack by itself. And they're going to get a second combat here. Going to combat. There it is. Okay, Ryu triggers again, but it gets untapped, but there's no third combat phase. Scared me there for a second. Let's flash down Mindsplice. Urabrask, one of the draws. Alright, well, you can probably see a pattern by now. We're going to start off with Experimental Augury. Take big score, because it's great with this card. We'll do Volt Charge on Ryu, convenient target. Proliferate up to 3. So now we're at cruising altitude here. Everything from this point on is just gas with the apparatus. We're going to big score away the second one. There's another Augury on the top. So, we have enough, we can Gambit. But let's Augury, because that's going to proliferate and still ensure enough mana for the Gambit. We'll take big score here. And let's just go ahead. Extra turn. It's going to allow us to untap. Kind of refuel here. Let's see. So I think the game plan for this turn, we want Urabrask down. We're going to try to get big score to get us into more spells. And if we can chain together enough, we might be able to flip Urabrask and go from there. Okay, there's one. Let's Thirst. We have the basic land already in hand. Yeah, let's discard it. Oh, we drew another big score anyway. Excellent. Let's discard Apparatus. More triggers. Snare and Thirst for Discovery left in hand. Alright, so here we can Snare Risona and still get the Proliferate. Yes, let's do that. Urabrask is now live. So we can flip it over. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's 3 to everything over there. And I think we can just pass it on over here. Suppose we could have kept going with Thirst, but kind of just want to untap. Start afresh. Alright, let's bounce Aurelia here. Does that make sense? Yeah. Slowing our opponent down just in case we don't draw the right things to keep taking turns. Oof, mountain off the top. 3 treasure tokens. Let's start off with a Thirst. Discard mountain. Okay, so now we got some things. Let's go big score, discarding second Urabrask. Don't really want to track having a flipped one and a non-flipped one on the board at the same time. Let's go into the fire and draw some extra things. There's one more spell. That's Augury. That's going to let us, Gambit on the top. And we can also put a counter on the Great Work. Just going to let us reuse all of our spells. Zoop, there we go. And so now we can recast all of these big scores at a profit. Discard Island to that one. One more trigger. And where is the other one? Let's go Volt Charge, just to kind of progress our game plan a little bit more. Worth 4 damage altogether. Let's go big score. I'll bring them to 7. Create some more mana, of course. Wow, 2 Alchemist's Gambit in hand. We're going to big score once more. Yeah, big score and Experimental Augury, 2 of the best spells we can cast. Essentially free. In some cases, we come out ahead on mana. Let's create some mana with Chandra. And then finally, double big score. So this is the first spell that Chandra was around to see. And so the first spell that gets the copy. Alright, let's Impulse then. We could probably keep casting spells, but let's see if we can't burn this one out. Second Chandra, Robbery and Case. Yeah, let's take the Case, why not? Play this land. Let's go Augury. Opponent down to 3. There's a Light Up the Night. We will continue our proliferation, and we'll just make a big Light Up the Night at the opponent. Should wrap it on up there. Good game.